You're listening to
The Real King.
With Joe and Heidi King.
Okay, go for it. You had a customer today?
No, she said she thought I said rustic beans.
Yeah.
Instead
Just
of
now.
beams, like ceiling rafters. But
I'm not even going to be mad about the fact that I didn't get to finish my eye hook joke.
the lady called me, and
Now I'm intrigued.
and on the text transcribed or whatever on the voicemail, it said,
Your visual voicemail?
yeah. What did it say? Oh, Lonnie.
What?
It said Lonnie, right? And I'm like, and she had like an address and everything that like, so I knew the address. I knew that I worked for her. I knew her voice.
Yeah.
I was like, Lonnie, I just don't remember that. And then I called her back. And it was the whole went to voicemail. I'm leaving her a long drawn out voicemail, calling her by the wrong name.
You were calling
You
her
called
Lonnie?
her Lonnie?
Yeah. And then,
Was it
Oh my
Bonnie?
gosh.
and then she calls in and interrupts the voicemail. So I
Hang up.
hung up and
You're like, never mind. You're calling me. Okay, love you. Bye.
Yeah.
And then you flip
Yeah.
over.
I'm waiting for her name to be like Carol.
it was that Juanita. Wani.
Oh.
She goes by Wani. That's hilarious.
Yeah. And
Never
then we
heard
get
of that
talking,
in
and
my
all of a
life.
sudden it like came back. I'm like, oh,
So say Lonnie.
Lonnie.
She
Sound
probably
like
thinks you have a
Lonnie
speech
as well.
impediment. That
Yeah, maybe
changes-
she thought you were saying the right
She
name.
thinks you have a speech impediment that
She's like, "Oh,
changes your
that's
W's
special."
to L's.
That special carpet cleaning
Special.
boy. Well, she's from the East Coast.
Oh,
On top of it, yeah, weird day today. So I go to one customer's house and we're visiting, and I've witnessed to these people, and I was actually sharing some testimonies. So, it was a weird day because
he's reflecting.
I've had
He's processing it right now, actually.
from another customer about 6 years ago. I went in, like I would go into her condo and she would have the little solar powered hula dancers.
Yeah, like you have on your car dash.
Yeah.
Like convertibles.
Like all over.
have on their
And she'd have
Kardashian.
little dogs whose heads would nod.
Yeah, bobbleheads.
And she had like a big electric palm tree, you know, like a neon one.
Yeah.
And so I commented, I was like,
Her,
All
so
of
her
this was in her
condo,
house?
her
this
condo
was,
was
another customer like 6 years ago.
But it was in her house?
yeah,
all in her condo.
it was Margaritaville themed.
It's pretty much.
Yeah,
She doesn't listen, does she?
No.
big Jimmy Buffett fan.
So I commented on it, and she gave me one that was in the box. The next time I came,
That's so funny.
the next time I came, she said, "I got you a girlfriend," and I'm like, "Oh,
That's.
You're like, I don't need one of those.
Let me get my wife on.
oh,
the
this
phone.
lady." Like, I started out sharing Christ with her, and then found out I knew her whole family. You know, so she's an old lady.
Unsurprising.
Like when you say that, people aren't even shocked anymore. They're like, mm-hmm.
I know,
You know how
right?
they talk about the 6 degrees of separation? Joe has 1 degree of separation.
It's funny. We just had that worship night, and somebody brought somebody to church.
We had a Sunday night service.
Yeah. And somebody brought somebody to church, and here I was in this person's house, witnessed to him, tried to lead him to the Lord, like right in the middle of COVID. Haven't seen him since. And then like got to connect with him at church, and come to find out the person that brought him witnessed to them like 20 years ago. It's just, yeah, there's always something. Anyway, back to the hula girl, right?
Find $1.
Who is not Lonnie.
No.
Different girl.
So I'm at the first customer's house in the morning.
Hula girl. Margaritaville.
Totally different woman. Has the same fetish.
Weird.
I go into the dining room.
Politely push back on the word fetish there. I'm going to say fixation
Yeah.
instead.
I go into the dining room, and there's a bunch of little
hula dancers,
solar dancer, whatever.
and you're like, wait a minute,
Maybe they
I've
came
kept
with the
this thing
property.
in the box, mind you. Different house.
is it in the truck?
Oh,
Is it in
Different
the
people,
truck?
like they don't even know each other, like not connected. So we're talking, and I said, "Oh, you got those little?" And she goes, "Yeah." She goes, "I can't find them anymore. They stopped selling them." And I said, "Don't move."
Stop! I knew it. I knew it.
I ran out
knew
and I
it.
dug this thing out of the bottom of my I have like a box between the seats.
Yeah.
who are you?
He picked it up and he went.
Like, who
and he
are
blew
you? You're
the
like
The dust off of it.
Santa.
I literally did. And I come running back and I'm like, this has been in my truck for 6 years. I literally told this woman and her husband, don't move. And I ran to the truck. And I come back with this little
That's so
chocolate looking
funny.
hula dancer girl with a little palm tree dress on. And she goes, is that one solar? And I said, yes, it is.
That's so insane.
She took it out of the box right away.
Of course. This was today?
Yeah.
Wow.
But that happened. And then at the same time, we're talking about another customer that we have, like a friend of hers that she was referred by.
I love that you regifted and told a story about it on our Christmas episode.
Yeah.
I didn't even
I
think
did
about
just
it.
say he was like Santa.
Yeah, but it was bittersweet because then we were talking, and I was talking about a different customer because she's got a family member that's been going through health problems that's younger than her. And then I brought up this other customer who he had a series of strokes. And when I was talking to him, he said, I have a goal, and that's to get all my grandkids in my pontoon. So this guy has been gradually rehabbing out of this stroke. Like lost his wife in the middle of it. She passed.
Wow.
But he's still working on his goal. So like he was mowing his own, he's in a wheelchair, but he was mowing his lawn all summer by himself. Like took off and went to California by himself. So I was telling them like, you need to, prayer, of course, but you need to have your sister set goals. Like this guy's got a goal. Well, she heard I said the guy's first name, and she goes, oh, so-and-so, he's dead. And I'm like, no, he's not. I'm like, I just talked to his daughter-in-law. And she's like, no, I heard he's, and then we get talking, and she goes, oh, wait, no, that's so-and-so. Another customer of mine that Max and I were just with, like
Died?
3 months ago, died.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Nellie is really upset about that.
I hear that.
First of all. Second of all, at no point did I know where that story was going.
I was actually trying to put like the pins and the strings together because it was
The day was crazy.
a
so
lot.
that happened.
That was a lot to ingest.
Yeah.
How did you make the connection from Lonnie to this
Because my whole day
lady?
was weird. Oh, so then when I was talking to Wani, I was just at her house.
I'm still not sure that it's not just Lonnie, but
It's Wani.
I know, but hear me out. It's like it's Lonnie, but they say Wani.
No.
Like I willy like to be called Wani.
No, I wish.
Okay.
I wish, but no. Like I seen her name on her checks.
Okay.
But
And it was a J.
yeah. So then this poor woman, last time I was there, first time I ever met him, lady was like sweet little 80-year-old lady cussing like a sailor.
Why?
Some of them just do. Just a brash lady, very bold. And then I started sharing Christ with her. And then she became like a super Christian, like immediately. Like this
While you were
lady-
talking to her?
she was like, she's got previous knowledge,
Oh, I see.
but she was like turned into a different person once she found out like I was like gonna convert her to Jesus Christ.
That does happen.
Yeah, but I ended up on the phone to her, and the lady had like a stroke. Mm-hmm. And then her husband's going through all this stuff. So like all day, God was just putting me in weird positions where like prayer was much needed. It was cool though. I got to minister to like several people today. And then I ended up in Fairchild. I know one pastor in Fairchild, right? I only know one church where I know the pastor. And that's like a little ways away from us. So then I'm in this facility, and the one lady that comes out to talk to me, I start trying to give her the gospel message, start talking to her. I'm going to invite her to my buddy's church in Augusta. Mm-hmm. Turns out she already goes there. And then she turns around, she's wearing their church shirt. Says Augusta Assemblies of God on the back of her shirt. I'm like, what is going on? Today
That's
was
so
crazy.
funny.
It was a wild day.
Then he came to my house.
Uh-huh.
You all right?
I came to your house to wash a floor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's what I do, man.
And then he built a step.
Yeah, and it's a little bit higher.
I get a kick. Jasmine figured that out real quick.
If you haven't entered your house,
I
have.
cut it down. I had it like level.
I have. I went in and out already. I let the dog out.
I had it almost level with the door.
like it's a little step up. Well, actually, the step down going out is going to be worse.
Well, I cut it down like an inch and 3/4. It was higher.
But he couldn't get the door open. I heard him banging around out there.
I
was like,
I get a kick out of it because my days, like, once I'm in that mode, my days just fly by. But I'm like, I go to a gazillion places in a day.
hey, do you remember when we were kids? They used to do this all the time. They would have Christmas in July.
Mm-hmm.
People would have Christmas
that was
in
like
July
a sales
parties.
thing. Yeah.
No, but like older ladies would do like Christmas in July stuff. Did you ever do that?
No, but like they'd put up a tree.
Not necessarily put up a tree, but they would have like a get together
Gift
and
exchange. White Velvet.
yeah. And now like Hallmark does.
Maybe that was a Chippewa thing.
I don't know.
They had another like bomb threat at their school today.
Yeah, I saw that.
That was.
Wasn't it at a grade school?
I'm not.
They
sure.
walked to the middle school.
I do know that I went. To
I am
that school.
trying to drag this dead horse of a conversation towards Christmas. Would you frickin' come along?
And Joe went to a
Bomb threats.
at a school.
That's because Christmas is the bomb.
Come on now.
I'm so content and happy over here right now.
Hey.
I got a big Christmas tree with lots of pink and purple on it.
Carlos
which-
is wearing a reindeer
Oh yeah, yeah.
hat that says "Oh dear" on it.
I didn't even notice that.
There you go.
Look, Carlos, look at Joe. Oh no! Oh, he just turned his
Yeah,
hat.
buddy.
He just turned his hat backwards. He never wears his hat backwards. Look at him.
Did you wear that at work? No. Oh, you should.
It'll get
tips
all
from
dirty.
people. Yeah. Yeah, but people might read it and be like, "Oh."
Oh. That's a good response.
I
Joe.
hope they do. They go. They go. Oh, and he goes, "Dear."
No, but when I was a server, you'd do stuff like
He'd
that.
wear, like, a
because
Santa
it would
hat.
engage people. They'd be like, "Oh,
You know.
He would wear a Santa hat. You are.
oh, you
accurate.
got a Rudolph on your hat.
disgusting.
Oh, Christmas is coming. Yeah, gotta buy presents.
You know what some say?
That's
It's the most
why I'm
wonderful
working
time of
these
the year.
extra shifts, and then they'd turn that $20 tip into a $50 real quick.
What's the biggest tip you've ever gotten?
Ooh,
Don't squat with your spurs on.
yep, yeah. People used to say stupid stuff.
No,
Yeah.
I
let
mean
me-
like
let me-
money. I'm not talking
Hey.
about words.
This is the giving season, and a lot of people are going to be out shopping, and they're going to be out to eat. So I'm just going to put this out there. If
Put
you're
it
a
out there.
Christian
or
don't-
not a Christian.
or anybody,
Yeah, anyone.
like don't say you represent Christ and then stiff your waitress or waiter. You know what I mean?
And like anything under 15% is stiffing.
Yeah, and don't put a track on the table that looks like a 20 thinking you're helping people out. Because
Listen.
you are run by the devil.
Hey, imagine you're like really down and out and
Yeah.
like you're praying for a miracle.
I went to
and
pay for my
you-
gas with it, and they unfolded
Yeah.
it. Somebody did that to me at Heckles.
That will turn people off real quick, honestly.
Yeah, I was like, Christians are lowest. It was the baddest.
Like that actually happened to
It
you?
did actually
You know what it's
happen.
like? It's like when you're at work and you get an email that's like, you've been recognized, and it's a phishing email. Yeah.
And the hard part
People
is
fall for those
is
all the
it looks
time.
like a folded bill, and it looks realistic. They can only counterfeit.
Why? I
the
wonder
third
why
of
they
it
would ever make a track like that.
to get attention.
But it's not cool.
The intention was probably like, yes, they need Jesus more than money. I agree with that. But I would never
Can't serve two gods.
I would never bait somebody like that. I would just either give them the gospel, or I'd just give them money, or I'd give them the gospel as I was giving them real money, not a fake money. But
Not a fake money.
not a fake money. This is the point though, is when you go out and you're spending time. We just had a pastors meeting for the Ignite pastors, and we met, and God gave me the same waitress the last 3 times in a row at this restaurant. And I was able to retain our conversations from all 3 times. So when she came to the table, I started talking to her like I knew her. And she's like, I think I know you from somewhere. And I'm like, yeah, you just know me from here. And I said, how's your sister doing? Is she still making you bracelets?
That's so funny.
And all of a sudden she came unglued, and then she remembered from the last exchange. And then we ended up having wonderful conversation with her. There was something that happened. There was a daddy-daughter date going on at the table next to us. And we were like fully engulfed in church talk. So you got like 4 men in ministry talking about Jesus. Like most people's discernment's not up. Well, myself and another pastor, I didn't realize he realized it, but I caught on to this guy was trying to have this special daddy-daughters date, but I don't think he had money. And I really felt impressed in my heart that we were to pick up the tab, right? So then I noticed that our waitress was waiting on them. And I walked out and I caught her when we were done. And I said, you have that table? She said, yes. And I said, I need to anonymously pay for that meal, but I need you to pick the biggest and best dessert on the menu and add it to the bill. And I'm going to pay it before we leave. And she did it. And then she came out with a dessert menu to the little girl. And she had her go through and pick what she wanted and boxed up the rest of her food.
The dad was probably freaking out.
He
at
was
that
like,
point.
this is overwhelming. This has never happened to me before.
Oh wait, he knew that it was paid for by then. I
By
was gonna
then.
say, like, if he was already tight on money, and the waitress is like, "Here, little girl, what dessert do you want?" He was probably like, "Ah!"
No. She went up with the menu and she said, another patron has paid for your bill and wanted to bless you guys. So this person wanted you guys to get like whatever dessert you want,
That's cool.
et cetera, et cetera. And he was like trying to figure out who in the restaurant did this. And I was like
Yeah,
very
but-
good at being
On some
incognito.
level, you never know if you're being filmed.
True.
Yeah, I don't know. He was pretty excited. He didn't feel like he was being filmed though. All that happened, right? And then I was pretty sneaky about it. And then one of the other pastors was he caught me and he's like, I know what you did there. He goes, I felt led to do the same thing. I'm so glad you did it. And then he picked up the bill for the rest of the pastors. But then we tipped this girl. And as we tipped her, I said, she had told me the last time we had been in there, and this is like spring, right? We're in December. She had told me that she was from like La Crosse or something. I said, hey, you're going home to visit your family for the holidays? Because I think Eau Claire's got a break for like pretty much the whole month of December. And December to January or something like that. She said, yeah, I'm going home. And I said, well, we want you to be covered on your gas and da-da-da. And we tipped her. And she did like the whole meltdown thing. She was like, oh my gosh, you don't know how much I need this. And then she came back to the table because she was like overwhelmed. And she said that guy really wanted to know who did that and who blessed him. She said, I know you told me to like keep it a secret. And she goes, it was really hard, but I did. And I said, well, thank you for that. And then I was like, hey, we're about to leave. I said, we're all ministers here. I said, we just want to pray blessing over you and your life and your trip home and da-da-da. And she said, I would really much appreciate that. So we prayed in the middle of the restaurant. That was Friday. Sunday, we go out to dinner.
You run
after
into her,
church.
she gives you a hula dancer.
That would be great.
Would have just made it.
I should have gave her a hula dancer.
Circle.
No, but we were sitting in a sushi restaurant with one of the other ministers, and I had my back to the door, and all of a sudden he's like giving me the nod to like look behind you, and I turn around and here she comes with her
Hula dance.
hula dancer. Well, the thing is, when you're a Christian and you're representing Jesus and you're trying to bless and minister to people, and sometimes it's only about giving them the gospel. You know, sometimes people have had money be a train wreck in their life.
You can also, as someone who would never get to that level with people probably that you do, you can still bless people even if you don't know they're from La Crosse and like all the background.
Yeah.
Not
Oh
their
yeah.
sister made bracelets.
Do you
You're
know?
quiet. You're kind of like a Rain Man, to be completely
Do you
honest
know
with you.
how I started? How I started with icebreakers? Like,
No, but I'd love to talk about it over a hot cup of cocoa by the fire because it's Christmas.
there's been no discipleship in my life other than just hearing Pastor Tim's like countless stories and then seeing random people show up to church with them.
Yeah.
You know, so it's not like you're in the field with them when we were, but not all the time.
It's different.
Yeah, so I used to I'd go to like Sam's Club and they always have like a buy 3 Dairy Queen or 4 Dairy Queen gift cards, get $10 free. Right.
Deal of a lifetime.
So you get like 4 $15 gift cards for Dairy Queen and you get $10 off the purchase price, right? So I would get those and then I would take them all out and then I would write Jesus loves you in like a Bible verse on the back in Sharpie so it couldn't rub off. And that was always a good icebreaker. Like I would run into somebody that like I felt God kind of highlighted to me and I'd walk up and I'd say, hey, my name is Joe. What's your name? And sometimes people are skeptical, but most people tell you. Like, hey, I don't want much of your time here. I'm not selling you anything. I felt like I'm supposed to get you dessert tonight. This is a Dairy Queen gift card. I want you to have a blessed night. You stick it out. They go to grab it. I'm just going to pray a quick blessing over you. God.
Ooh, got your dollar. You pull it. You pull it back. Got to be quicker than that.
But this is how you learn.
Yeah.
When they go to take it, hey, I'm going to pray a quick blessing over you. God bless them. Lord, encounter them. Lord, make yourself real to them today. And as they enjoy this dessert, Lord, give them opportunity to be blessed in Jesus' name. And you give it and you say, thank you very much for allowing me to bless you today. And you walk away. And it's not weird. What I do now is weird. But that's kind of, when I didn't know where to go with that, you can keep that stuff right in your purse or your wallet, you know, and it's like a $40 investment, you know, and what you're going to do is you're going to find yourself in that moment where I've had it happen so many times. I had one I was carrying around in my wallet and God highlighted a local pastor's kid. And like when you're a pastor's kid and you're like a teen or preteen, you're usually overlooked unless it's in correction.
Right.
Right? So then to stop and say, hey, God highlighted you to me today. And I have this Dairy Queen gift card so that you can go get yourself a tropical blizzard or a banana split or, you know what I mean?
We need to talk about that. Heidi, what's your favorite Blizzard flavor?
That right there.
Tropical?
Yes.
Stop.
Loves it.
100%. Like I may make you take me there right
Like,
after this.
What does that
Picking-
mean? Is it just like banana
It's
and
Banana
Pineapple,
and pineapple
coconut.
and coconut and nuts.
It's the worst.
It's so good.
It's like everything you'd ever have to pick out of your teeth.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
so good.
What's your favorite?
So I like to get hot fudge, marshmallow, Heath, and peanut butter.
Oh, that's
All in one thing.
And then lately,
What flavor ice cream?
Vanilla.
vanilla.
Oh.
Lately, I've been doing brownie because they have the brownie batter extreme. But I get just the brownie, just the fudge, with either chocolate or vanilla ice cream, and then I had Reese's Pieces and peanut butter to it.
Okay.
It's pretty good.
What's Max's?
Cherry dip cone.
What's your favorite?
Oh,
Blizzard?
he's a cookie dough.
Jasmine doesn't like ice cream.
Yeah, she orders a cookie dough and then it ends
Well,
up in
because she's
garbage.
a 40-year-old divorcee
Oh, yeah.
now.
I take
She grew up and tore all the kid stuff out of her room.
Max
Yeah.
did just correct me, and I might have to pull back.
What is it?
mine. S'mores.
Oh,
They're seasonal, but they have hunks of Hershey
You like
bar
s'mores?
blizzards. Yeah, marshmallow fluff.
I'm
in there.
surprised by the graham cracker though.
Oh, it's so good. It's crunchy.
Interesting.
I won't eat s'mores in your yard,
Exactly. That's why I say
but
interesting.
I love a s'mores blizzard because it's got ice cream.
took me 4 days to get Heidi to realize what a savory s'more was.
Because
I
it's
had to
really
s-
not a s'more at all.
I had to send her a video.
Oh, with a Reese's peanut butter cup.
No, with
No.
like a
Explain
Baby
it to
Bell
Joe.
cheese. You get like regular crackers and Baby Bell cheese.
Before she said regular crackers, did you just assume that the cheese was in replacement of the marshmallow?
No, as soon as she said Baby Bell cheese, I was like, oh, so this is savory.
Yeah.
I thought she was gonna be like,
See?
I thought she was gonna be like, Baby Bell cheese, a slice of medium
Provolone.
rare
Yeah,
filet mignon
I love your
on
impression
a
of me.
toasted baguette,
pretty much. That's
Covered
pretty much
in
exactly what it is.
crushed arugula.
Yeah, and you
With,
hold the
with
cheese.
that
over
gives
the
it a little
fire.
peppery bite, and then a little fig jam.
And then a spritz of EBOO across the top of that toasted bread.
I love that the hand motion with spritz made it.
I know, it didn't even look like a
The
spritz.
spritz.
It looked like, I don't know, it looked
Carlos-
like I was releasing a dove.
Yeah. That was the best laugh.
It was so dumb.
Hey, what's your go-to Blizzard flavor at like Dairy Queen or like Concrete Mixer? Orange and vanilla.
Ooh, like a dreamsicle type of style.
He likes strawberry too.
Mm. Oh, do you do like the
Because he
Julius?
doesn't like chocolate.
Do you do like the orange Julius? Yeah. Okay. so
he
does
doesn't
a-
like chocolate or peanut butter. Remember that?
Right.
Here's a
Joe's
question.
complete polar opposite in that
Literally.
department.
Dairy Queen in El Salvador, are the flavors different?
Do you have Dairy Queen?
They have Pizza Hut.
But you have like
Oh,
Baskin Robbins. With 33 flavors.
Mm. Because I know they have Pizza Hut. And that's why I just assumed.
They have most things, really.
Well, I hope
They have
don't-
Olive Garden.
I hope they don't have a Chick-fil-A.
Hey, take it easy.
We don't slander the Lord's chicken here.
The only Christian.
Whoa.
I'm the only Christian that will literally like jump a curb to get to a Popeyes over Chick-fil-A.
Popeyes
probably.
is good though. Dude.
Popeyes, they're they're two different things. They're two different things.
So Max and I Thursday night with Ignite, we went
Chick-fil-A, hold on, is Popeyes once it's gone through gentrification.
down. I don't know about that.
100%. When you bring Popeyes to white upper middle class suburbia, you get Chick-fil-A.
Or Popeyes is like Chick-fil-A's like unsaved
Would
brother.
you like some of our
Yeah.
Chick-fil-A sauce?
You know what? I got to tell you, I have departed a bit from the Chick-fil-A sauce and I've kind of settled in on the honey roasted barbecue.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say because you found out
They
it
have
had
that there?
silicone in it.
Yeah, they
Joe
do.
keeps Robert Kennedy Jr. in me.
Yeah.
And Like, I don't know.
I wrecked
what,
Skittles
I don't
for
know
her
what to put
yesterday.
in my mouth anymore.
Yeah.
I literally, I'm
I'll,
like,
I'll give you plenty.
Well,
I'll make
nothing
you
in
steak.
plastic,
I'll make you pizza, like all homemade though.
but it's got to be organic,
Organic.
locally sourced. So that means every pizza costs $800.
yeah, and takes 8 hours to make.
Not that anyone cares, but my go-to Blizzard flavor. My thing just flew away from my mouth, like the Lord didn't want me to say it. First of all, I'm more of a concrete mixer girl.
Oh, see, that's not ice cream. It's custard.
Well,
It's custard from Culver's,
Gluten is also
Not
Dairy
sponsored.
Queen. Yeah.
but also
Best
if you want to,
3-piece
go
North
ahead and give me a
Atlantic
call.
cod dinner ever.
I get the chocolate custard. And then I get hot fudge and Heath bits.
What
I'm
is up with
such
you
a-
two with the Heath? You both are big
I love
Heath
Heath.
There's
people.
something about the sweet, crunchy.
And there's a little salt bite in there.
Yeah. So Max and I went Thursday.
Sometimes I get cashews too.
We were doing street ministry, and we ended up going to the emergency department doors at our local hospital. And we had some experiences, both good and both saddening. And then at one point, myself and our little friend Grace decided to try and pray
Grace.
for...
Great.
I bit my tongue when I said it. The Lord didn't want
Did
me to say
you?
grace. I don't know.
Grace.
We went to pray for some sweet old lady, and she was not having it, man. Like, she didn't look good. She looked like she'd been through some stuff. She was on oxygen. I was like, hey, can we pray for you? Which is odd, because usually I don't ask. I'm usually like, ma'am, I'm here because I'm supposed to pray for you, and I just do it. You
Can
know?
I ask you a question?
What?
Before you go on. Is it like a different mindset when you do like street evangelism versus like randomly bringing up Jesus to like a stranger on the street and says, God highlighted me, here's a gift card? Like that tactic is very different.
Very different.
Yeah.
When I used to operate with those gift cards, mainly I wasn't confident that God sent me there.
Well, it's also a smoother entry.
What I found though is people, if you have two things you're going to give people, usually they choose one over the other. You know, so do I want to leave them with a sweet sugary taste in their mouth just from the gift card, or do I want them to have honey on their lips?
Let's
and
talk about
taste
that
and
for a
see if the
second.
Lord is good.
And this is not a knock, because a lot of churches do this. They do like a welcome packet, and that is fine. And they give people gift cards and like swag, and that's totally fine. But it's also completely unnecessary if you have the Holy Spirit operating in your church. Because what God can offer them through the Holy Spirit will keep them engaged and keep them coming back. There's nothing more seeker friendly than the Holy Spirit.
Silver and gold have I none. Such as
Yeah.
I have, I give unto thee.
Yeah.
Pick up your bed and walk.
I mentioned this a lot ever since we talked about it probably a few months ago, but like Jesus, when he was tempted, it was like, you can turn this rock into bread. And then he's like, yeah, but then people would follow me because I'm able to turn a rock into bread.
Correct.
And like,
Which,
do you see what I mean?
so read the Gospels and count. Why don't you take account on how many times Jesus tells the people, now go and tell no one. Now go and tell no one.
Yeah, because he doesn't, that's not what he was there for. That's
Yeah.
not what he's here for today, is the thing.
Correct.
The fringe benefit. You get those things because of your proximity to Jesus.
Yeah.
This is also my personal take on it. The reason why that was an easy,
It's an icebreaker.
it was an easy icebreaker
Yeah.
vehicle for me is one, I was alone a lot of the time. And then two, right now in the last 10 years, it's been this massive push for pay it forward, right? You go to the Starbucks and the person in front of you paid, go to McDonald's, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That's also where I love, because people are open to receive in that way, because that culture has already been established.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you have to emphasize the name of Jesus when you do it,
Correct.
because otherwise they may take that card and pay it forward.
Correct. So if you're married to Joe, you're gonna give somebody a gift card,
If you're married to Joe
and
someday.
and you're gonna be like super stoked about it, and then you're gonna get back in the car and you're gonna tell him about it, and you're gonna be like, "Did you say anything about?" And he's gonna tell you, "Did you say anything about Jesus?" And I was like, "No." And he's like, "Well, then how? What do they even know right now?"
And I wasn't being condescending.
No, I get it, but like,
But we
it's a good
have to
point.
know
It's a good point.
who we're representing.
Correct.
So it is a little different, because like when you go out and you've purposed in your heart and you feel called, like, I need to go do this, right? And oftentimes it's not like this rush of energy, like, oh, I need to go share the gospel to people. It usually stems from multiple opportunities you missed, and it's eaten away at you. The guilt and the conviction of the Holy Spirit of, oh Lord, like I knew I was supposed to talk to that one. I didn't do it, and Lord, put somebody else in their path, because I don't want them to die tomorrow without hearing the gospel of Jesus Christ and receiving him as their Lord and Savior. You have multiple times where you walk away from a situation and you're like, oh man, I really missed it. I should have shared Christ. Or you hear about somebody like that you were just with. The last time Max and I were with that customer of mine, we just sat and heaped up testimonies about the Lord's goodness. And then in turn, they told us they were going to a funeral for an 18-year-old boy that was killed on a motorcycle on Highway 12 that attended their church. And she was the school teacher of that boy. And we ended up saying we could pray for them. Mm-hmm. Right? So I've had opportunities where I didn't say the thing, and then I walk away, and then I find out they died. That to me is crushing.
Pastor Tim's had that too. Like when he was going through dialysis, he hated dialysis, but he, in any of his afflictions and physical, what's the word I'm looking for? Attacks, I guess.
Yeah.
There's a more eloquent
Battles.
There's a different word I was going to use, but he would try to look for those same opportunities. And then there was one time that he, like when you're on something like dialysis, like you're in the midst of like a chronic illness, and like a lot of people that have to go through chemo, you show up to chemo one day and it's like there's kind of like a core group, and then you come the next day and somebody's missing.
Yep. Yeah.
And like he had a couple of instances like that where he was like, hey, can you look up this person for me, like in the obituaries or whatever? And they had passed away, and he felt like heartbroken.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So when you go out, like when we went to the hospital, the emergency department,
How long did they let you stay? I'm just curious.
We were good up until that one lady. Tried to pray for her, and you never seen somebody get up mobily and move so quick with oxygen in your life when she went to call security on us. And we weren't like, I didn't press. I just said, could we pray for you? No. I'd appreciate it if you didn't. I'm fine, thanks. And I looked her in the eye and I said, well, I would love to at least speak a blessing over you. And she said, I would really appreciate it if you didn't, please. And I said, absolutely. I'm sorry. And you have a great night. And we walked out. And as we were going through the double glass doors, like I seen her jump up and take off for the counter.
Right. That's a great example of you wrestle not against flesh and blood.
Mm-hmm. And so like we had multiple experiences like that.
Whatever had her captive, has her captive.
Yeah.
Did not want you anywhere near her.
Yeah. And the reason why I started talking about that was when security came, he was this guy did not want to come up. Like he walked sideways, stared at us, walked back. Hey, how's it going? Good. How are you tonight?
He didn't want to tell you to leave.
He didn't want to engage in that. finally he says, "So what are you guys doing?" And I said, "Well, we've been
Is
trying
it
to
older guy?
young guy."
Oh, okay.
I said, "We've been trying to pray for." I said, "It's the holiday season. People waited and got through Thanksgiving. Now their ailments have gotten them. They're going to the ER." So I said, "We're just trying to catch people." And I said, "Actually, our focus has been mostly on the employees here." I said, "We wanted to really pray for some of the emergency employees." And I said, "Well, is there anything we can pray for you about?" Because he was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Yeah, just keep moving around. Like don't get in one place too long."
He was trying to be nice.
And I said,
but-
"We're actually we're gonna take off here." And I said, "Anything we can pray about you about?" And he's like, "No, I'm pretty good." He goes, And I was like, "Well, we're gonna pray that I pray that we're the hardest thing you have to deal with tonight, and that you have peace and et cetera, et cetera." And then somebody else in the group said something like, "Are you guys pretty busy?" And he said, "Actually, most of our
Oh, I
walk-ins
don't know if you want to say this.
have been from a local restaurant that just opened." And I was like, "Oh no." I was like, "I'm so glad we haven't eaten there yet." I only thought about that because of Chick-fil-A, not sponsored. It wasn't Chick-fil-A, not sponsored.
But again, if Culver's wants to call us,
Yeah.
so what's your favorite Christmas tradition?
We like to go out and cut down a tree or 5.
Oh, watching Polar Express, Jasmine said.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good movie.
Yeah.
Tom Hanks voices all the characters of that movie except for like one.
That's so weird.
Even the kid. I don't understand it.
It's very strange.
I could be wrong on the kid part. I'm going to look it up later.
Yeah.
The fact checkers will get me. I'm just kidding.
100%. Joe's is definitely cutting down the Christmas tree.
I've been with Joe to cut down a Christmas tree. Remember the year?
Yes. Yes, I do.
We did a Griswold style Christmas tree for church. How tall do you think the ceilings are at church, Joe?
20 feet.
No.
30?
If you're down on the main floor, it could be close.
Like if you're on the floor.
Yeah. Yeah, but if you're up on the stage, they're probably like 20.
That's an altar.
Yeah.
Not a
If
stage.
you're up on the altar.
Have you noticed I've been trying to rebrand it?
Yes.
Because Josiah Queen sings a song.
Come to the altar.
No, altars over stages. Really struck a chord with me.
Yeah.
Any hoodles, we went and got 30-foot ceilings. We went and got a tree that was a tad too tall.
We got like 3 of them.
No, this was the one big one.
Yeah, but we had gotten 2.
The
with
one
that.
big one that like we got it there and we were like we messed up.
It hung off the back and the front of my truck.
Yeah. Like it was literally a Griswold tree.
Very much.
Little full out of sight.
We got it there and we had like a rinky dink
Stand.
stand.
And it kept tipping over.
Yeah.
Yep.
We were like, how?
Had to like put wood underneath the stand and drill it to
Literally.
the floor.
Yeah.
That was
It
pretty
was
crazy.
awesome. People loved it.
That was enormous. It was hard to decorate.
It was hard to decorate, maintain. I felt like it was going to fall over.
Yeah.
It was like, they're awesome. But this is the weird part is I grew up with trees like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
And
did.
my dad seemed to never have an issue. So like, I wonder what he did different.
He was an engineer.
He was a woodworker and he
But it
So-
was always very.
Yeah, but they always got them from a specific place that cored the tree, and then their stands were made so it had a steel rod that went up the center of the trunk of the tree.
Really?
Mike always got them for him.
That makes sense. Because, yeah, we definitely didn't have those issues, and we had same size
And
trees.
those trees were like $400.
Yeah. I
And you
believe
go out
it.
and ride the wagon and drink a hot chocolate, pick your tree, and then they take it back. They level it, core it, and then you take it home and you put it in the stand that you have to buy from them.
That's crazy.
So if we ever get another tree like that for the church, we need to level it
Noted.
and core it.
Sure.
Okay, and then put a steel rod up the thing.
Yep.
All right, noted.
That sounded borderline vulgar.
Actually, so none of them go to that tree farm anymore, and they all have those stands.
Interesting.
I
Yeah.
bet your mom still got one somewhere.
That was one year. The other year we got like 3 or 4
They were still big.
enormous real trees.
Correct. Yep.
Was it 4 or 2?
I don't remember.
They were big, and we did them all in little red bows.
Yeah.
That was really pretty.
Yeah.
And a million white lights.
Correct.
But I really like, I was telling you, like, by the time Christmas gets here, we will have decorated like 44 trees, it feels like.
Because we not only decorate our homes, but then we have to decorate our churches, and then we have to decorate
Our
our
mothers.
mothers, and yeah,
Yeah.
we decorate a lot.
Yeah.
And I get it. Like, I understand the timelines and how there's pagan holidays that overlap Christmas and et cetera, but
But I ain't celebrating that.
no, and that's the thing is, Pastor Tim has a good way of, when he talks about the Sabbath, because he's also one that believes that the Sabbath is not on a Sunday. He would keep, if it worked out, he would probably keep the traditional, like,
Sabbath.
church on Friday night and then rest all day Saturday or whatever.
That sounds
you know?
amazing.
But
Me too.
Because the beginning of the work week was technically Sunday.
yeah, and you fast. You fast like that
Sundown.
Friday, you know. But what he always says is, look, the whole rest of the world, on the majority of the rest of the world, has agreed to acknowledge Christ on that day.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be present on that day, and I'm going to be vocal.
Yeah.
So I'm going to celebrate, and I'm going to be vocal, and I'm going to give the good tidings of Jesus Christ. And even though I may not believe in the origins of Christmas trees or this or that or the other thing, because you have a lot of contradicting information out there on the evergreen tree, and then pagan uses and this and that.
People
But,
get fiery about this topic.
yeah.
Yeah, it's really wild, to be honest with you.
Yeah, well, and I think it stems from, like, most of the people I've seen do that. They hit that, and then they'll, if they feel like they're losing that argument, then they'll twist the argument into, like, about the consumerism and commercialism. And then I really start to think, like, well, maybe they had hurt or had lack in those seasons, which we had plenty of Christmases with mom and dad pastoring and the ups and downs and ebbs and flows of small business where they didn't have money on Christmas. And some of our Christmases where things like Orange Hot Dish were birthed were our best Christmases. We
Cheeseburgers and fried potatoes, dude.
didn't have a pot to pee in.
So
man.
good.
There was a Christmas when I was little where, because of my parents' focus on Jesus Christ, both sides of the family did not invite them to the family Christmases.
Yeah.
And my parents never preached at them. Like, they never were condescending. They were never, like, pushy with it. They put it out there. If you want it, you got it. If not, we're still going to hunt. We're still going to fish. We're still going to play cribbage. We're still going to do all the things together. But people obsessed over it. So I remember Dad felt pretty bad. Like, now as an adult, I bet you he was crushed, right? To be exempted from not only his family's Christmas, but then his in-laws as well.
Which is wild because the in-laws, like, it was like a non-godly family and a godly family, but the godly family
Appearance of God
ended up being, they didn't want anything to do with God either.
Yeah, and
The kids. And so it's weird that they were two sides of the fence, but both of them were like, nope.
but Dad, he was like, you know what? Like, he didn't want to just sit at home and lament. So he went and secretly booked like 2 or 3 nights in a hotel with a big pool. And Christmas Day, we swam in the pool with Dad, with him throwing us up in the air. And then at the end of the pool time, he got us Pizza Hut, and it was like fresh, hot, pan style pepperoni pizza.
It's true. I was there.
And then before we went to bed, we went back in the pool, dude. And that was like one of the best Christmases.
It is very
to date.
interesting hearing you talk right now, though, because since me and Joe have been married, holidays have always been like a sore spot because he's never really loved extended family holidays. And now that I'm hearing you talk, I think it's because of you, how you grew up, because you grew up with these memories of just your immediate family, like at a hotel eating pizza.
Oh, yeah.
And so
But-
those experiences weren't even a thing for you.
We had both.
Also,
we had
though,
both.
also I will say they had more both than I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I will say, our parents were very intentional about. Yes, we're gonna honor like traditions with family if able, but we're very determined and intentional about creating our own holiday in our own memory for our own nuclear family.
And acknowledging Christ.
Yes. So like Thanksgiving, it was like as soon as my parents got married, my mom, like my dad literally took my mom to his mom to learn how to make pies because he wanted his own Thanksgiving dinner with his own family. And like,
Your mom got taught how to make pies from her mother-in-law?
yeah.
Who
I didn't
they
know
they
that.
didn't get along back then, because my dad was my grandma's.
But I didn't know that. So that's in that the core of your dad loving pie is not only from how your mom makes it, but it was because his mom made it.
And it's
Yeah.
his mom's exact recipe.
Gotcha.
And she's tweaked it a little bit.
That makes a lot more sense
Yeah.
for who Tim is.
Isn't it funny? And so then, like, Christmas was the same thing. Like, Christmas, if we celebrated with others, and in my whole life, I think I can count on both hands. One hand for one side of the family, both hands for the other side of the family. One hand for the godly side, two hands for the ungodly side. That we celebrated Christmas, but it was always on Christmas Eve. But Christmas Day has always been reserved for our very specific nuclear family. So I didn't have like the aunts and uncles experience growing up. And that's why I am beyond blessed at the relationship that I have with my nieces and nephews.
Correct. Yeah.
Because one could argue that I almost go overboard to make up for it. And I'm not making up for anything with them, but I'm very intentional about not being that aunt or
What happened to
uncle.
you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When we first got married, which we're celebrating 19 years tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Oh my
Yeah.
God. Anniversary episode.
But
Wedding anniversary
Oh,
episode.
weird. Yeah. That's funny.
when we
19 years.
19 years.
yeah,
That's crazy.
when we first got married, there was like, when we first started doing the extended family holidays, like being the aunt and uncle, we didn't have kids yet, and we didn't have any money,
Yeah.
and we were like eating spaghetti for every meal, and
Is that why you hate spaghetti?
oh, I hate it. Yeah.
Interesting.
You do.
It's like I'm seeing you from a different light all of a sudden.
You've never
It's
you've
anniversary
never
Eve.
listened to me in 20 years.
It's anniversary Eve.
I'm very
and
open
she's seeing you
about
through
this
new eyes.
stuff a lot.
She went to an eye doctor appointment today and she got fresh eyes.
Yeah, and now she's like, "Oh my God, he's a different person."
Yeah.
But like one time, like Heidi hands me this list from like nieces and nephews, and I looked at it, and there was not, like, right now, with the way the economy is, if somebody handed me a kid's list and every item on there was like $200, I'd be like, yeah, everything's like $200 right now.
Yeah.
But back
because
then-
$200 is $20.
Back then, asking me for like a
Xbox.
Xbox or a Sega Dreamcast when it first came out, that was like $400 or $500. And that was all that was on these kids' list, was like this high end stuff. And she was like, "What do we gotta get them something." And I'm like, we got in fights because I was like, I will not buy
So
them
bad.
something on their list. I was like, I will not buy them. One, I never had an uncle or aunt buy me anything.
Same.
And then 2, why do they get to pick their gift? Why?
Oh, that is the antithesis of gift giving. That is the
Yeah. Joe is
That's
real. Joe will die
familial.
on this hill for anybody listening.
Could you imagine?
yeah. That's
Could you
a
imagine
familial
if-
thing.
Could you imagine if now Jesus
if he
Jesus
had
was
frankincense
present.
and myrrh on his
Jesus
list?
was
Imagine.
present at the beginning of creation. You know, so I'm not worried about him. But could you imagine if Joseph and Mary had sent out a list to the wise men?
Baby shower.
You know what I mean? Like, come on. Where's the element of surprise? Where is the joy of finding out that your family knows something about you? Like, one, I've always had some gift of discernment, even
Because-
when I wasn't walking with the
Can
Lord.
I make a necessary clarification? You are an intentional person. I'm an intentional person.
100%.
Heidi is an intentional person. And when you're an intentional person, there are like at least 5 things that I mentioned to Heidi in passing that she later got me for my birthday. Literally. And I didn't make a list for her. She was intentional about hearing me, making mental note or maybe even an actual note, and then went out and got the thing. And you do the exact same thing. Like Carlos does the exact same thing. And I think we've gotten away as a society, especially in America, we've gotten away from the intentional listening to other people to hear them and making a mental note, being thoughtful, aware, making a mental note. Like, I want to bless that person in a very specific way later. And I'm going to make a mental note of something that they mentioned that they really want or need. And then we've resorted to telling our bratty snot-nosed kids, I'll edit that part out. We've resorted to telling kids, make a list,
Yeah.
mail it to Santa, you know, and like they get stuff from their list.
Well, you
sure.
feed the greed.
Yeah. And so, and I know that we're ruffling feathers,
What? It's all right. What are you watering there?
My feathers are ruffled.
but like it's a more rewarding giving experience, and it's a more rewarding, because I've had it both ways. It's a more rewarding giving experience and receiving experience when you see the intention and the thought that went into it from the other person, that all you did was mention it in passing with zero expectation, and that person went out of their way to get you something special.
I don't even do that. I literally go shopping.
You make a mental note of everything they said they
No,
wanted, and you're like, I will not.
I think
They will not win.
no. I think about the
They will
characteristics.
learn.
Those kids,
so
every
funny.
time I would get them a gift, they would discard everything from their parents, and there'd be like $1,000 pile of junk over there, and they'd be playing with whatever I got them.
Yeah.
It was
An
that way.
empty box.
And what you would learn is don't be fake around me.
Yeah.
Because when I make a relationship with somebody and I watch their personality traits and I look at how they interact with people, then that's how I think when I shop for them.
Correct.
So for all those years, like when I would go out to get something or gift give, usually I would get so intentional. Like, okay, their personality is definitely like this. I've seen them play with this. I've seen them spend time talking about this. And I would go like that. Mm-hmm. If you came into a room and you were like real fake and like trying to be something you're not, then you'd probably get something that you were projecting from me. I'd be like, oh, I know you pretty well. And you might get something that you necessarily wouldn't want, but maybe your best friend really liked. So you were trying to act cool like your best friend and talk about it a lot at Christmas the year before, you know?
Joe is so serious about gift giving. Like, first of all, it's sometimes not fun. I'm going to be completely honest, shopping with him because he's very serious about it. But when we buy gifts for like people, like birthday parties, for example,
Yeah.
I will buy something and he will come in
And buy
with
something
his
else.
own gift.
Yep. Carlos does that.
Upstaging everyone.
It's never to upstage.
I'm kidding. It was a joke.
I like to make it very personable.
Hey, talk about upstaging. I got a gift. I got multiple gifts for people one Christmas, and Carlos brought his own gifts that were like designer fragrances and like a designer scarf. And I was like, excuse me.
I remember one year, the first time I ever got Carlos's name.
Was it the fish?
No. That I gave that to Pastor Tim. That was a taxidermy muskie or something.
Yeah.
Came off somebody's wall.
Ended up in my garage forever.
I got his name, and our oldest brother, who's no longer with us, had like a new girlfriend. Or wait, no, it was our other brother who's still with us. Had a girlfriend that was very much on the far, far, far left. And she had children that were on the far, far, far left. And they came to that Christmas, and like, I don't think like that. Like, I wasn't doing it to like
You weren't being
rile anybody.
antagonistic. You were just doing
No,
the
the
thing.
gift was bought like way before.
Yeah.
And
Carlos, for context, is on the far, far, far right.
Yeah.
On his own volition. That's the conclusion that he himself has landed on politically.
Carlos
here from another country.
Carlos, as a 30-year-old man, went to hunter safety,
Yeah.
which I know men that have lived in this country their whole life that would probably love to hunt, but they got too much pride to go to hunter safety.
Yeah.
Right?
He did. He went to
So he went to
safety.
hunter safety, and I was pretty proud of that. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I'm getting this man a firearm.
Yeah. We had like a $20 limit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think it was
Joe's like, not in my house will I be limited.
I think it was Cedric was sitting there, and he's like, dude, I hope you get my name next year.
He said that.
Yeah, because he
That's
was
so
watching
And you've
Carlos.
never gotten his name.
Yeah, I did.
What'd you get him, an AR?
Shotgun.
Did you?
You don't remember that?
I don't remember nothing.
That's what he hunts with every year.
That's so
Are you serious?
Yeah, I got him a Mossberg 12 gauge with 2 barrels.
Wow, that's very specific.
A double barrel shotgun,
no,
if you will.
No, like interchangeable barrels, so he could bird hunt with it, shoot trap, or shoot deer.
Obviously. I bet he's bird hunting right now.
But it was the funniest thing because like Carlos getting legal in this country to be able to do that stuff, then he gets to open this gift that he then will get to use the next year on our deer hunt.
Yeah.
You know? That was, for me,
It was jarring to someone who has been told, some people who had been told for their whole lives that guns kill people, not people who kill people.
yeah. Which was really unfortunate.
We're hitting all the hot topics today. Merry Christmas.
But you know, there's something,
You filthy animal.
there's something about John Paul Jackson has like, there's an excellent teaching out there on the Father's blessing, right? Mm-hmm. And he actually spent a lot of time in his ministry where God would bring people to him that had an orphan spirit. They were neglected by their real father. They were neglected by people.
Yeah.
And all through the Bible, Old Testament and New, there was this striving for the Father's blessing. In the New Testament, Jesus talks about the prodigal coming home, you know, and then the discord between the two brothers because one expected more of a blessing because he stayed and never left, you know. And so when my dad gave me a firearm because we hunted together, I still have that. And then my mother got him, my mother who didn't even like him going hunting, didn't like hunting. She, for their, I think, 25th wedding anniversary, she bought him a rifle,
A really nice one.
beautiful rifle. And I still hunt with that to this day. Like he's allowed me to take his anniversary present from 25 years ago, which he's never harvested a deer with, and I've harvested like several. Mm-hmm. And so for me to give somebody something like that was so meaningful to me when I got it, like that's a big like dad moment to me, you know, like as a spiritual father, as
Yeah.
a brother.
I will say that, like, we talk about this a lot when it's just the two of us, but like there's so many fundamental life shaping experiences that happen with fathers and sons that Carlos didn't get to experience with his biological father. He had other father figures like uncles and
His
a
grandpa.
stepdad and his grandpa, but there's like sort of rite of passage, like traditional, you know, manly things that happen between a father and a son that he didn't get to experience. And I feel like over the years, God's restored that to him over and above what he could ever ask or think, which is exactly what God promises to do.
Well, and just any time that you can, like, as a brother, being able to give your younger brother, you know,
Yeah.
his first
Yeah.
firearm to go out on the family hunt,
Yeah.
on the family land.
And it's a big deal now. They have a group chat.
Yeah, it's funny.
Heidi, what kind of gun do you want for Christmas?
You know,
Don't say it. Joe won't get it.
what are they called? Is it a GAT? Is that a thing?
Actually,
A Glock.
with the modern slang,
That's my
like
favorite thing she's ever said.
1990 and early 2000s, a gat, rat-tat-tat-tat, kill shot, holding it sideways is very different than what they would say. What do they say? Yacht?
That's a butt.
Yeah, so
that's a
be
butt.
careful with that word because they'll think you're old and just trying to say that word.
Yeah. A gyat is actually a gyat dang.
Oh, really?
Yeah. You know how people see a butt for years, they've seen a butt and they go, gyat, darn it. You know? Potty mouth.
So dumb.
So now kids have ruined everything when it comes to terminology.
Again, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. And so they say gyat as a big butt because it's because of that.
It all started with them stupid dances from that stupid backpack kid.
What?
What backpack kid? Dora.
Google that
Hey.
backpack kid, not
Hey,
Dora.
hey,
The one that did the dance, like where he
backpack.
moves his arms.
Floss?
Yeah.
yeah. Hey,
That's where this started going wrong.
hey, let me ask you a question, Joe.
What?
This is really important because Max is here. When you hear somebody say, "Oh, that's a 5-0," what is that?
Cop.
That's exactly what it is.
He's talking about a Mustang.
He called it a 5-0.
Well, there's a 5.0 Mustang.
I know, but you would say a 5.0.
Mm-hmm.
But he goes, "That's a 5-0," and I was like, "That's a cop car."
Yeah, no, 5.0 is always in the cop.
Oh my gosh, they must have seized that from a drug dealer. And he goes, "No, a 5.0 is a Mustang," and I was like, "I'm gonna need you."
A Riz, man. Like,
Charisma.
yeah, but it was.
I
it
don't
was
know what
the
you just said.
Snoop Dogg, the Rizide.
Still.
Like,
nothing.
so then my generation shortened that up and be like, let's get in the Riz and get out of here, or the Whip and get out of here.
Never heard of either of those.
That's because
Heidi's
you.
from north of Highway 8.
Yes.
Was I though?
And you were a.
I
You were
know.
a.
You're not north of Highway
I was south of Highway 8.
8. She was.
You were.
She's
also
north
very,
of Highway 64, though.
Like your music was like whatever was on Z100.
You and
Correct.
me go fishing in the dark.
So-
Or, what did, I'm trying to remember. You were into songs like, "Got a barbecue stain on my white t-shirt." She was,
She was
killing
Kenny
me in that
Chesney?
mini skirt. That's Tim McGraw.
I don't know.
Oh, man.
Lord help us.
So in essence,
Wrapping it all up.
gift giving, think about it this year.
Yeah.
Don't go off lists. Let your heart,
Let your heart guide you.
even though it's evil per the word.
Yeah.
But my like thoughts like often go to when you get too religious about it, like you were beginning the conversation with, is when like there's people that choose not to celebrate it because technically Jesus was born in October, and like these people get so like in depth on this stuff that I feel like your example of the Sabbath is a really good one, because in the word it's constantly saying like Jesus constantly having these conversations with the Pharisees about like, okay, if, you know, you, even on the Sabbath, you take out and you feed and water your ox, and you, if a sheep were to fall, if one of your sheep were to fall or get
crack,
lost, you know, on that day, you would just let it lie there. Like he's constantly like talking to them in that manner, thinking like you're not getting the point of what this is. And so when often, like we've actually had it in home base of people choosing not to celebrate it at all because that's not religious, like that's not correct religiously, and that's not like accurate, and that's not factual. And what it actually, that actually brought a wall into the family, because people were no longer able to celebrate as a family because this one family was missing. And when one family is missing, there's a hole in your whole thing, and it makes it weird and awkward.
And it makes
like,
it easier for other people to stop coming.
And like, let's say it's for people that are unsaved, that immediately now puts a bad taste in their mouth about any type of religion, because they're like, wow, like these people are too high and uppity to even celebrate this day with us and have these things. And the Bible also says that a man easily offended is not one. Like there's so many.
A man
There's
offended is not easily won.
There's so many things that people get stuck on that are not, it's not a matter of eternity.
Why not capitalize on and take any opportunity you can to honor Jesus?
Correct.
Yeah.
Well, and then also,
Yeah.
like so we've talked a lot about family on this episode with our personal experiences and Christmases, but like those people that literally have no family, those people that literally spend Christmas alone, like those are areas where like that's heartbreaking.
Yes.
And for years, our family has always included people that had nowhere to go. And
Yeah. See, that is an area right there where if you just like get off your high horse a little bit with, you know, the no Christmas trees, Jesus was not born in December, this is not his actual birthday, like all of that stuff that people get into, and just embrace the Christmas season, because Christ is highly recognized in this season, whether, you know, it's factual
People
or not.
that never go
per
to church
timelines,
ever.
correct?
They go to church at Christmas.
And you seize these moments of sowing into people.
Yeah. Okay. Merry Christmas. Bye.
Thank you so much for joining us for today's episode. We are so blessed to have the privilege to share with you. If you haven't already, please connect with us on Facebook and Instagram. You can find us by searching at The Real King Podcast. That's at THE Real King Podcast. The Real King Podcast is recorded in Eau Claire, Wisconsin. It is hosted by Joe and Heidi King, who are joined each week by Christina Santamaria as a moderator and contributor. It is produced and edited by Joe and Heidi King and Carlos and Christina Santamaria. All content is under copyright and all rights are reserved.